Being able to play the Switch 2 with non-officially licensed Switch 1 controllers is a massive advantage, and it's so cool that Nintendo allowed for that. But if ever you want to go handheld, the only option to do that is using Nintendo's joycons too. And don't get me wrong, they're great, but the reality is the third-party market showed us a lot of better options for the Switch 1. And while these do connect to the Switch 2 wirelessly, you can't attach them to the unit. Well, Mobapad is looking to change this with this accessory, the C70 that they just sent for review. Thank you very much, Mobapad, for sending this my way. That has no impact on my opinions when you change hands. This is designed to be able to connect to the Switch 2 and allow you to have everything put together, including Joy-Con wands or third-party market options, which is what we'll look into today. Let's put this aside for now. And in the box, you have these, one for the right side and another for the left side. And that is it for the box. Anything resembling instructions are on the back right here, but truly you don't need instructions. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, first of all, the quality is good. Like, this is good quality plastic. There's a metal rail here, and it feels like this could be an official accessory, which truly I think is a bit of a miss for Nintendo. They were probably banking on selling more Joy-Cons too, but if it would have been a Nintendo official one, they probably could have charged like 40 bucks, which, by the way, Mobapad sells this for 20 USD. It's on Amazon and on their own website. I'll have a link. Considering what it is and what it does, that the price is absolutely fair. I increased the light here so that you guys can get a little bit of a better look. When you connect this to the Switch, it has magnets, so it's very easy to connect to the Switch 2, no problems. One thing that is different is that we don't have the pin as you would on a Joy-Con to take them out. So rather, we have this pin right here, and much like the Joy-Con that has a little push pin here whenever you push the release button, here we have one as well, and you kind of want to push down and it comes out. And just the same, we have a little push pin right here. Much like official Joy-Cons, these metal are ferromagnetic. They hold very tight. Like, there's not a chance in the world that this is coming off. This is very, very strong, much like it is the case with the actual Joy-Cons. But there is one thing that I want to show you and manage expectations, because when Mobapad announced this, there was something I hoped for, but I assumed it was probably not going to be the case, is understanding and being able to have access to these pins. And I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo has some kind of protection or a handshake needed to be able to communicate with these pins, and it is not the case here. You'll see that it's hollow, there's nothing there, so there's no connection per se, which means that if you connect that and you were to connect, for example, a Switch 1 Joy-Con, it will not have a direct line connection to the Switch 2. We don't need one, would have been nice, but it is not the case, which means that you're not able to charge whatever Joy-Con you're going to put here. It's really just going to be able to allow you to hold it. It's still something that I'm looking forward to, because if you don't know, Mobapad happened to make the best Joy-Cons I've seen for the Nintendo Switch 1. They're so good that they would absolutely hold nicely against the Switch 2 Joy-Cons. That's how good they are. And because of those rails, I would of course be able to attach official Joy-Cons, and I'll show you what it looks like. It holds a little bit funny because you still have the wiggle, especially with these Joy-Cons. They're smaller. Having been playing for a while now with the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, it's kind of, I'm almost feeling cramped already going back to these because they feel so small in comparison. And you can also feel the railing a little bit in the back, like if you're trying to push your fingers to have a little bit more surface, like I am doing now, you can feel that in the back. But the idea here, as much as you can use these if you want, the idea in my mind is to use something that makes a lot more sense for this, like the M6 HD from Mobapad themselves. And while much like official Joy-Cons, they're not as tall as the Joy 2 Joy-Cons, but man, this looks clean and this feels great. The ergonomic grips that the M6 HD have, I'm really not touching the rails here. It's like they don't exist, and this feels so much nicer. And the thing is, I'm sure a lot of you, like I have been shopping for a bunch of different grips, and yes, there are some nice ones, but they get pretty costly. Just holding this, this feels right. This feels like that should have happened way long ago. But as you can see here, we don't have a connection. So I do have to pair these to the Switch for that to work. And I'll just go ahead and do that. That is something that you will have to consider. If you want to use your Switch 2 like that all the time, you're not going to have a way to charge your Joy-Con. So you're going to have something separate for that. Either one of those docks that you can use to charge your Joy-Cons. Of course, you could use your Switch one to charge your Joy-Cons, but that could be a little counterintuitive. Or the other thing that you could do, which I'll show you just now, is you could use this accessory from Mobapad, which happens to be their charging grip set. And there are a bunch of other options on the market. I wanted those specifically because I thought they would consider the M6 HD, and I always wanted them. And I asked Mobapad if they were okay sending me one. They said yes. Thank you very much again, Mobapad, for this as well. And this looks almost like one of those butterfly knife, I think is what they're called. And then with this here, I could, oh no, not these. I could connect regular Joy-Cons, any Joy-Cons really. You have a little bit of flex, which is really nice. And then you can use that to charge. So as long as you make a habit of connecting to something like that, or there are even grips that have battery. These don't have battery included. They just feel nice and look nice. But yeah, the ability to charge them at the same time is kind of cool. I also don't think it supports direct connection, because as far as I know, that doesn't exist, or at least I've never seen it, but that would definitely charge the Joy-Con. So, you know, that's something that you can get along on their website. They sell the combo if you want to go with this and the C70 rails for the Switch 2. But anyways, let's put that aside for now. And just like that, I can finally go back to using my M6 HD, because ever since the Switch 2 came out, my Switch 1 has been, for the most part, just gathering dust. Oh man, I'm so happy to find them again. These Joy-Cons are so much better. It's wild how much better. The sticks, like, we're getting like full size, concave, nice rumble. Also, because it is HD rumble, it shakes a little less. HD rumble too is they have a little more shake, a little more vibrations to them. But as far as just getting HD rumble, you're getting that same experience. And because the size is also different, I find that it translates really good. There are a couple of people that reported having what I guess they would call subpar HD rumble experience with the M6 HD, and I want to be transparent. That's why I'm even mentioning it. That was not the case for me, and I've spent a lot of time testing that. I love this solution. I love that they're not charging an arm and a leg for that. And really, if you think of either buying grips for the Joy-Con 2, which could still be viable, right? Because at least you'd have the connection and charging your Joy-Cons at the same time. I can still understand wanting to find a nice grip to go with your Joy-Cons too. But if you want something that is just super ergonomic and will work minus the little battery situation that we have to, you know, make sure to stay on our toes to charge once we're done, that's really the only thing. If I didn't mention this before, this will interface with every Joy-Con except the Joy-Cons that are not battery powered. So for example, I have the I don't have them with me right this second, but the Hori Gengar edition, I have those, and those are super nice too, but they don't have batteries in them, so that wouldn't work with that kind of solution. You're really gonna need to be using Joy-Cons that have a battery in them. Otherwise, it's just not gonna communicate with your Switch 2, as the communication itself is happening solely through Bluetooth. And so there it is, guys. Let me know if you have any inputs, any comments, any ideas, or any questions, really. Is it something, especially considering the low price point of $20, is it something that you want to pick up because you have a nice collection of Joy-Cons that you want to bring to your Switch 2 and be able to use it as a handheld mode? To put things in perspective, my Switch 1 experience, I want to say, was essentially 98% handheld. I don't play dock. With the Switch 2, it was the exact opposite. Until I got the D-brand grips. I do like the ergonomics. That said, I like this solution much better. So, you know, had this been released before, I probably wouldn't have even considered grabbing the grips for D-brand. But all things considered, I'm glad to have them both. But this is how I'm going to be playing my Switch 2 going forward. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions, you know what to do. As always, consider hitting a like and to subscribe to not miss any future content. My name is Clef, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.